Popcorn world. Popcorn world.
Can I make you move now? Yes, I can. So you can get this move in a bag of a can. I can make it round the world when it holds in your hand. Popcorn world. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. The popcorn world.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer, Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course, Mama Noise's man, Lloyd Smith. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
Well, happy World Series Eve to everyone. It is truly a glorious, glorious day. And yes, you can go make your World Series bets at Bet Online, if you'd like to. But it's such a glorious, glorious morning. Kendrick Haskins is there. Charlie Ward is there.
I'm happy for it. I'm happy for you.
I'm feeling good.
I'm happy for you, bro.
I'm happy for you. Church say you sticking your chest out.
Yes. Well, listen. When you win, you can say a few things, but you probably shouldn't say that until you win. just as a general rule, keep your mouth shut.
Charlie was trying to get under your skin the other night. I'm convinced.
Full disclosure to everyone out here in BLEAV in the ACC land. My brothers here have supported me to some degree. Kendrick is a little shaky, but a little shaky because your support has been fairly thin with a couple of jabs, and that's fine. I understand. But Charlie Ward was like, "It's over. It's over." And I'm like, "Charlie, don't do this, man."
It's like the sixth inning.
We had a good lead. I'll admit, we had a good lead. But it's baseball, man. You can't. Baseball is one of them sports where the whole thing can turn. And the Astros are that team, man. Listen, I'm glad that we went through the Astros. And if we win the World Series, it would have been better to have gone through the Astros to do it. But listen, they got two bats on that team that are scary. I mean, they are absolutely scary because we had no answer for it. We had no Jose Altuve answer, and we had no Jordan Alvarez answer. None. You know, a series is bad when at some point you in the series you just say, "Well, let's make sure there's nobody on base when he hits it." Like, that's where we were by the end of the series. But we got it done, and I'm happy. I'm happy we made it to the. But Charlie was trying to be supportive in his own way.
Just watching and being a realist. Like,
But Charlie, you were calling in the 6th inning, like the 5th inning or whatever it was.
I couldn't see the inning. I just saw how they were.
You just like they're playing well and they're gonna win. That's what you kept telling. So maybe you were just being prophetic. You were just trying to give me the spiritual confidence I needed to believe.
Y'all sent Dusty Baker into retirement.
Right.
Said, well, oh yeah, you know that. I'll be honest with you, that kind of surprised me.
He's 75 years old.
In one way,
He's 75 years old.
well, but he's living his best life at 75 though, and they're gonna keep paying him. Like if he wanted to stay, they're gonna keep paying him.
I mean, he's made
saved
plenty of
that
money in his
franchise.
life. I think he's good.
He's very good. And by the way, he can walk off the set into a broadcasting job if he liked. He saved that franchise though. People don't really remember Houston's name was trash when he got there. Like it was terrible. They were cheaters. They were the scum of the earth, and they robbed Boston of a and the Yankees of a World Series title. It was bad.
That they
And he
won.
came in with his integrity and was like,
Right.
"They're all right." Huh?
I say they won the World Series.
They did, but right, that's what I'm saying. Like when they won in 17, they won amidst a now I wouldn't even call it a cloud. I'd say it's a deep, dark fog, a blizzard of controversy. And then, he kind of saved them. So, I know we're not at the shout outs portion of the show, but it was pretty bad.
We knew coming in that the shout out was going to come early.
I'm not shouting them out yet. I'm just saying I'm happy. That's all I'm saying. I'm just very, very happy today. Very, very
borderline humble flex.
It's not. There's nothing humble about that. Come on.
Right. You're right. There's nothing humble.
Flexing this morning. This is a gigantic flex. Okay. We will get to that. We'll get to that. Well, let's combine them into one because it's going to be more as the show goes on, I'm sure. So
Charlie and I have both gotten multiple flexes.
I'm absolutely going to give myself a humble flex. There's no question about it. But I'll be flexing the whole show, I'm sure, at some point. So, I want to give the show though a collective humble flex. I really do.
And that was a humble flex.
We started last weekend. We said we're headed toward the part of the season where if you're not careful, you're going to become a victim of your own mental whatever. Like it's not going to go. If you're not focused each week, this could get bad for you. And man, did we look like prophets? Because this was bad. This was a wild ACC weekend, and I feel likely a precursor to what's going to be the run to the finish line. I think the ACC is in position to kind of beat itself up, but in a good way. Because I still think there are a couple of teams that can get to the finish line unscathed. But man, this is going to be tricky. It's going to be very, very tricky. And it's rather than just go through the results here in just a second, which is what we're going to do, I want to ask you guys, what was the most shocking win of the weekend for you?
Well, of course, it was North Carolina. It was Virginia over North Carolina. But even though that's kind of North Carolina's MO, they lose to somebody they don't have any business losing to. You just don't know where it's coming from. But that one for sure, because shout out to Virginia, and I know we talking about we're not doing shout outs early, but
we shout out there.
If anybody deserves a shout out this week, it's Virginia for everything they've gone through, and to go on the road and win that game in that environment, that is huge for them. And it could turn their season around, but this is kind of what Carolina does. They play well and they get off to hot starts to the season, and then they'll drop a game against someone they have no business losing to.
And they can't stop anybody.
So
No.
They cannot stop anybody.
So Virginia, had a week off. Like they had a bye week last week. So they had a pretty good game plan, I'm sure, going in, and felt good. But I was just looking back their scores, and I mean they're not far off from all their losses have been like one score.
Yeah, they're right there in all of their games. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean their record is not indicative of who they are at this point, but you've seen great improvement from them each and every week. So I guess it would be shocking now that we've seen the results that they beat North Carolina, but they had a week off and they were trending in the right direction as far as a team. So their 1-5 record, I think it was at the time, was kind of misleading of what they are right now. I mean, they're 2-5 now, but I'm not saying I'm going to pick them, this week, but they're trending in the right direction is what.
Yeah, and they've been playing hard all season, especially given the circumstances.
If I'd
They've
have
been
told
battling every game this season.
Yeah, if I'd have told you score unseen that Drake May threw for 347 yards, Omarion Hampton ran for 112 yards, and Devontae Walker caught 146 yards, caught 11 catches for 146 yards and touchdown, you'd probably thought, oh, they must have blew that team out. And they didn't.
Under normal circumstances, yeah, you would think that, but like you said earlier, Carolina's defense can't stop anybody.
They can't stop anybody.
Them and USC, wow.
They may have. Now, I still think Drake May is probably around the fringe of the Heisman conversation. Maybe not a front runner anymore.
I think after that loss, I don't.
Well, it's still some games left and some decent games. And there's an ACC championship game that if he plays well, maybe he gets back in that like full on. But you're right.
Do they even get there though? Great. Do they even get to the ACC? I mean, we talked about their final schedule last week. Their road to the end of the season is not easy.
Well, that's where we're headed. That is where we're headed. But I also want to talk about another shocking loss, and shocking not for the reasons you might think. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't see this one coming, and apparently neither did any of us because nobody picked Wake Forest.
Because none of us believe in Wake Forest.
Nope, none of us believed in Wake Forest. But guess who did believe in Wake Forest? Wake Forest.
Well, those are the ones that count.
You don't really care if you believe in us or not. Go ahead, Charlie.
Hold on. So, Wake Forest should have lost the game. So, how about the referee calls the guy down where they say he started his slide, which passed the line. Was past the line of the game anyway, and they moved the ball back to where it wasn't a first down, and they ended up having to punt, and they of course scored a touchdown or whatever it was to win for Wake Forest to win the game.
Right.
So we were good until the referee came into play.
We've been saying that a lot this year.
So let me ask you a question though. But with that being said, Charlie, Wake Forest is 4-3. Now that was their first conference win, but they're 4-3. Okay. Is this a team people should be concerned about coming down the stretch?
I hope not, especially not this.
Especially on Saturday at noon, Charlie.
Charlie plays Superman. The Cape, all that kind of carrying on this weekend. They can stay 21 points. That I don't know if that's going to win. But it was just ironic that I was flying out on Sunday morning. I think Sunday to head to Virginia, And I happened to be on the plane, and lo and behold, there's a guy next to me that was watching the game. The game FSU, who they play?
Dude.
Who your
Duke.
guy?
Yeah,
That's
FSU.
Duke. Yeah, Duke. Yeah.
And so I just happened to sneak and see that he watching because he's watching on his phone, and then he had some notes that he's watching, and I was like, "Oh, must be a referee." So the referee watching the game,
Yeah.
some of the calls that they were, I guess, noted him on to
Yeah.
watch to see if he got it right or what they called, and then after we got off, get off the plane, there's a guy in front of us that was a referee that called a game with them because they were discussing certain plays. And one of the plays, I told him, he was like, "Well, it looked like this." I was like, "Well, no, it wasn't that." But it was very interesting.
You kind of buried the lead, Charlie. Did they know who you were? Did they have any idea who you were?
I don't know. I wouldn't lie. I was just checking them out. I was very interested to know that they do get flagged, and they have a review process.
Yeah, they are evaluated.
Listen, if they want to make it to a bowl game, they better get some calls right.
Did you see the play that I posted on X from the Western Kentucky game the other night?
I don't know if I did. I may have. I'm
If you
sure I did, but
now, granted, the call did not cost WKU the game. It did not. They lost anyway. They lost straight up. However, they're going for two. The tight end is running a slant in the end zone. The linebacker not only grabs his shirt, he switches hands grabbing his shirt.
Yes.
They threw the flag, met, and picked the flag up.
But you know what, Kendrick? That is happening a lot lately. Like
that game was awful. That game was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen.
But that's happening a lot in college and in the pros, where the DB, and I don't know if it's just this season or what, but the DB or a cornerback is being allowed to have way more contact, I guess, or whatever it is, or in that flexibility realm. And it's like these guys are being mugged in some places, and you're like, that's pass interference. Like, why are we not calling that? Like, I don't understand. And then
I'm okay with a little bit more
pass interference games, and I'm looking at you, referee from the Indianapolis Colts game, and they're saying that's pass interference, and that ball was so uncatchable. Victor Wembanyama couldn't have caught that ball. So it's like, I don't know. Man, it's amazing to me that we're in 2023. The game has been going on this long, and we still don't know what pass interference and a catch is. Like, right. It's credible to me.
That play though, that Western Kentucky,
that was bad. That was very bad.
Charlie, the guy literally is holding his shirt. He's dragging him across the end zone while he's holding his shirt, and he loses his grip, and he switches hands and grabs his shirt.
He just about pulled his number off.
It's like no flag.
I was like, that's not pass interference. That's not holding. What are we doing?
And there's two referees right there on the play. One of them throws a flag, and they meet and pick it up.
It was that was bad. When you started talking about it, I remember the play now. Yeah, that was really bad. So I don't know. I'm very curious because Louisville didn't have to leave the house this weekend.
And jump 3 spots in the polls. And jump 3 spots in the polls.
Jump 3 spots in the polls and kind of put themselves in the driver's seat. Like, they really are in a really good spot. So and also they have Florida State to thank for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I have not heard anything as it relates to Riley Leonard as to whether or not he's playing. I know he left the game, and they went to the backup, but
and the roof caved in after that.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good.
There
is a vast difference between the starting quarterback of Duke and the backup. It is not the same.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence I really don't think he should have played, because he did have an effect on the game, even though his numbers weren't great before he left. I think he gave them a comfort zone playing, meaning he felt like he gave him a better chance, even though he wasn't who we know him to be. I just think they have a lot more season left, and the outcome was going to be the outcome. I do believe, just because of his health. Now, if he was healthy, then yes, I mean it would have been a totally story. But he came in not healthy, and it was just one little tweak that could set him back a couple of weeks. And so now, one loss turns into multiple losses because he's, when you have an ankle sprain of any kind and you tweak it, it's there the entire way. I mean, it's there the entire season. Mm-hmm. So now he's going to be playing injured even more if he tries to play this week, which I doubt. And if he does, he's going to be the same player that he was this past weekend. Their defense is what helped them stay in the game.
In that run game.
Yes. And so
Jacquez Moore was great. Yeah.
So I just think, it was a tough situation because they got some tough games coming up, and he's not going to be either he's going to be unavailable or he's going to be playing injured. And
stay there, Charlie, because I want to ask you this question. You're a coach. You see your season in front of you slipping away. Your player comes to you and says, Coach, I'm 75, I'm 80%. I can't run, but I think I can give you some quality play back there. Do you if he's not his complete self, do you play him? And I hate to second guess a coach, I do. But this situation really changed the entire landscape of the run to the ACC title. That one decision, I think, is going to be the difference between, because I think Duke is probably out now. Probably. And
depends on what happens Saturday. But
depending on what happens Saturday. Now, they may somehow, Henry BLEAV IV may find something, I don't know, between now and Saturday. But barring him, channeling his inner whatever, they may be on the outside looking in. This may be a 3-team race. But in your mind, going back to the Florida State game, Charlie, do you play him? Do you? Because go ahead.
It would have been tough.
Yeah.
It would have been all because you want to give your team the best chance to win. But you do know his injury, and so you want to make sure that he can protect himself. Which, for the most part, I thought he did a good job of doing that. He was able to get out of harm's way a lot, but I think it was just a matter of time because he was getting hit during the course of the game.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of time before something of a tweak, nothing major, but all you need to do is just tweak that type of injury, and you're limping or you're gone. And so that's why I just thought it was a tough call for him to play, even though I know I would probably been in the same boat wanting to play. But at some point you got to look down the road. If we lose this game, I mean, you can't think that way, but if we do, and then he gets hurt, I mean, that's a double negative. And I think they only had one loss at the time.
Yeah, they only had one loss. Now they have two.
And so,
I felt like they had two losses. They weren't going to win that game if he played. And that's no disrespect to them. I think they're a really solid team, but that was going to be a tough win regardless. So why not play? Why not sit in one more week? Take your chances at Louisville. Because here's the thing, North Carolina, you didn't know this, but they ended up getting the loss. And so if North Carolina loses and you take the loss, then you got North Carolina head to head. And then listen, anything can happen going to the end of the season. It is not out of the realm of possibility that the team that plays Florida State in the ACC championship game, see what I just did there, is going to have 2 losses. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So
it's one of those catch-22 situations.
Yeah.
Because it's a thing of where if you do beat Florida State, then you're in the driver's seat.
You're in the driver's seat. That's a great point.
Right. And so I can see both sides. It's just, I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. At the end of the day, you got to look out for the kid and his health. But at the same time, it's like he was playing well before he got hurt. But like Charlie said, the slightest cut, the slightest just hit on that ankle, and he's back out. And so I don't know what you do in that situation. I don't want to blame coach for anything, because it's like it's your best player. He's playing well, but then if he gets hurt, then it could really damage the rest of your season. And like, because this game Saturday against Louisville, it's pretty much make or break for Duke. Because if you go down, because it feels like this year in the ACC, if you go down to 3 losses in conference, it's over. And so it's so much on this riding on this Louisville game.
Well, go ahead, Charlie.
Kudos to the coach for not allowing him to go back in.
Yes,
very much so. Very much so.
I mean, I saw that somebody was commentating on that on Instagram or somewhere about the coach not allowing him to go back in, but which was a smart thing, because if he wanted a chance to play, he needed to not go back in. He should have been trying to get some treatment on it,
right?
To try to help him get to a point. But he's around the clock trying to get ready for this weekend if he can play. But he's playing on turf. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
With an ankle sprain. So I think he put himself in a tough situation moving forward for the rest of the year. But he's going to be, bum ankle for the rest of the year, probably regardless.
And I'll tell you, the most obvious part of that game Saturday was how the playbook dramatically shrank. Because there were plays that had he been 100%, he would have taken off and ran, and that just was gone. That whole dynamic was gone, and that was the difference. Like, there was nowhere. His guys don't get the kind of separation that he can count on for 60 minutes. So he is the X factor that makes, linebackers have to come up, that makes, DBs have to kind of peek back in the backfield just to see what he's doing, kind of stuff. And that whole dynamic was gone. So that made a huge difference. So while we're here, I'm going to ask Kendrick, because while there is probably no Riley Leonard this weekend, this game might be evenly matched, because there may not be a Jawar Jordan either.
Right.
What are you hearing about that situation?
They're very tight-lipped over at U of L with football, especially. We only have one. We have the Monday press conference, and that's it. There's no midweek, nothing. And as of Monday, he hasn't practiced with the team as of Monday. He's been working out on the side, getting treatment and all that stuff. And Coach Braun was saying until he sees him play and until him actually practice, then he's not going to play him. So there's that.
Practices, I'm sure. Closed practices.
Yeah, we don't get anything.
Yeah,
but the even bigger is that Renardo Brown, the offensive lineman, is out for the season.
That was a blow. That was a big blow.
And it's got to be frustrating when his injury didn't occur in the game. It occurred in the warm-ups before the game, because the field in Pittsburgh is so bad.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to me that an NFL stadium has that bad of a field, and it's known. It's known that their field is bad, and they're cool with it. The NFL's cool with it.
Yeah.
But so this game's got a lot of major injuries going into it, and it's going to be a question of who can step up, who's the next man up. Louisville has options at running back. I don't think Duke has as many options at quarterback.
They do not. they do not. Let's go through some of the other games.
I should have went with my gut on that one. I was telling you I think Miami's gonna win that game.
No, you did go with your gut.
I did.
Oh, yeah, okay. You picked Miami. Charlie went with Clemson. Charlie's the late bloomer that he still believes, and I appreciate your belief. You have the belief in Clemson that I had in Syracuse.
But y'all didn't know that what's the name? Van Dyke. Van Dyke. I was gonna call it Van Pelt. Wasn't playing.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. But I just had a feeling. I just really and truly, Charlie, I just had a feeling.
Well, listen, I already
He's always been saying that Clemson's going to lose 4 games. That's why he went with Miami.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling.
My pick didn't have anything to do with Miami. My pick had everything to do with what I think Clemson has become. And here's what's interesting about Clemson. Every week, we almost had it. We just had this. But at some point, that's who you are. You're the team that for 60 minutes, don't pay attention to every single detail. So so now it's almost inevitable that a fumble is coming, that a goal line mistake is coming, that something is going to happen because that's who you've been all season. And so they didn't disappoint. Clemson is becoming the Dallas Cowboys of college football.
I wouldn't go that far.
What do you say?
I wouldn't go that far. They've won.
Well, that's true. That is also true. But it was a great game. It was a great game.
I just feel like Dabo is just his own worst enemy at this point.
Yeah. Listen. It's hard to say they've fallen off the cliff when it went to double overtime, but something is wrong. Yeah, something is wrong. And like I told you, I think there's one more coming. At least one more coming. So I'm very curious to see if Charlie Ward is going to continue to pick Clemson.
Well, it depends.
Or will he learn from my Syracuse mistakes? I don't know what he's going to do here. Georgia Tech infuriates me. I'm just going to say it.
Georgia Tech infuriates everybody.
They infuriate me because somebody, if ever there was a team where I'm just saying maybe y'all should just stick to like a couple of sports, like football ain't it. It's just they don't know how to build a consistent program. And then the same thing I guess can be said about Boston College because I don't know what you're gonna get from them either. So.
At least with Boston College, but really and truly, it's with both of them. They both kind of been a rebuild.
They're always in a rebuild.
This is true, perpetually. But Georgia Tech's bringing in a new coach. Boston College is bringing in a new quarterback without Zay Flowers.
They're always bringing in somebody new.
Well, no, they had Jerkovich for like 15 years. He's been there since Doug Flutie graduated.
Jerkovich is there a long time. All right. And then in our pick 3 games, Penn State is exactly who we thought they were. By the way, I'm going to ask a very difficult question. I asked this question yesterday on the 5. I'm going to ask it to you guys. This is a very uncomfortable conversation I'm about to have with you.
I know where you're going.
But at some point, oh, man, I hate to do this. I'm not trying to throw a guy under the bus, but I'm just looking at the numbers. Guys 1-9 against Ohio State, 4-9 against Michigan and Ohio State. Clearly, he's struggling to win the big game. He's winning all the other games, but he's not winning the game. If James Franklin does not beat Michigan, is he in trouble?
I'll just say this. Somewhere that came up on talk radio at some point, or they were talking about it. Um, you remember? Let's just go back 2 years ago.
Mhm.
The same narrative was centered around Jim Harbaugh.
Same thing, exactly.
Right.
Like everybody's talking about
They couldn't beat Ohio State.
Ohio State, and they couldn't beat whoever to win the big games. They were 11-1, or 10-2, whatever it was, and they were right there at the doorstep. And I just think, who are you going to find is better? I mean,
Yeah, that's a great point, Charlie.
that is where people get so caught up in their own way when they don't see the other positives which outweigh the glaring negative, and then you go and try to find the next best coach or whatever that may be, and now you got a whole new situation where you're like Nebraska, or you like some of these other teams that fired a coach that was 9-3 because that wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I just think if the man is doing a great job and the team is winning, even though at some point it's going to be a breakthrough. Like there has to be a breakthrough, because when you start talking about Michigan, all this cloud that's around them,
Yeah.
and you fire James Franklin, and next thing you know, Jim Harbaugh is out at Michigan. Now you got both teams are in rebuild mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think if the man is doing a great job and he has all the processes in place, you can't let him go because he loses 2 games every year at this point.
I do think they need to update that offense. I mean, you've got to go downfield. I mean, that's the game today. And like the DBs they can set up. They can just bring out a folding chair, like Deion said how he would guard Keyshawn Johnson. He just bring out a folding chair and set on him 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. But that's what you can do with Penn State's offense. And so they've got a good quarterback. Kid was, I think, was a 5-star quarterback coming in, and so they've got to retool that offense. But I'm with Charlie. I'm, as you know, patient. I'm with patience, and Jim Harbaugh went through the same things at Michigan. I just wonder how patient Penn State's going to be. They've been pretty patient with him so far.
Can I push back a little bit, just a little bit? Because you said they've got a good quarterback. And by the way, fantastic. I think it was on the game was on Fox. I think it was, and they did an expose.
I love the referee cams that they use on the Fox college.
I do like that.
I don't know why they don't do that in every broadcast.
Yeah, that's really
awesome. It's just a GoPro. It's not like it's expensive.
Nothing. Yeah, right. They did a great expose on the kid Drew Alar about his brother and how he plays for his brother. It's a fantastic story. Whoever did that was fantastic. But the kid was 18 of 42.
I mean,
pressure.
When they got pressure, and when the defense knows that he's not going to go deep, they can.
Well, that's my point.
They can pressure the receivers.
That's my point. He may be good. The offense doesn't tell me that he's good because of the way it's set up.
Right.
And he's throwing the ball at a really high clip. So it's not like they're not throwing the ball.
Right.
It's just there may be the way either it's the offense or maybe they don't have everybody that they quite need just yet.
It feels like the offense is geared, and Charlie, you know better than us. It feels like the offense is geared to having playmaking receivers that can take a quick slant 80 yards, and they doesn't feel like they have that. Would that be a fair assessment?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to really, really watch the game.
Yeah.
But the time that I did watch it, he was getting sacked or getting.
He didn't have time anyway.
Whether he had guys that can take it the distance or couldn't get open, all I know, I just saw him, not hitting his target. He was throwing screen passes.
Yeah,
that's their offense.
That's their offense, though. Yeah,
I don't know what that is. But if you throw it 42 times, I mean, you're not just throwing it, 3 yards every single time. So I'm sure they had to put some shot plays and throwing the ball down the field. I just don't know. I mean, Ohio State's defense is very good. So is Penn State. I mean, they lost 20-12.
Yeah, it wasn't they didn't get blown off the field, right?
That defense is real. Penn State's defense is real.
Yes. So it wasn't like Ohio State was off the charts offensively either. Both defenses were very tough. And I just think it came down to the home field advantage.
Can I be honest with you guys? I don't know if anybody in the Big Ten is good at all, if I'm being honest.
I was just about to say the same thing. That's like, it feels like this is the Big Ten-iest Big Ten season ever. There's no explosive offenses in this league. What Michigan's might be, we don't know what Michigan is.
Well, the one thing you can say about Michigan is this. They're beating teams.
They're
the
taking
way
care
good
of business.
Teams are supposed to beat bad teams.
Right.
But they're not playing anybody either. So I just don't know. I don't know what the Big Ten is. And that's why when we go to when they pick the top 4 on next Tuesday, my humble opinion, I personally wouldn't put a Big Ten team in the top 4 because I don't know if these teams are good. Maybe Ohio State, maybe because they have top 10 wins against Notre Dame and Penn State. Maybe I'd put them at 4. But I don't know. I don't know if Michigan is good, man. Who knows? Plus, they've been stealing signs. I mean, who knows?
Michigan is good. Trust me. I mean, when you're beating teams the way they're beating them,
right?
Regardless of who they're playing, you could just look at how they play and how you can tell that they're very good. So when they do come against a tough team, they know how to grind it out. They know how to execute whatever they're trying to do. And
but how do you know that, Charlie? They haven't had to do it.
And this was a thing that happened to. I'll just go back to my history. When we were playing my senior year, we were beating teams the way Michigan was beating teams, and the narrative around that was, y'all haven't played anyone in a sense. I mean, we played Miami in that stretch, won 28-10. But the way we were beating teams, people, you got to understand, you got to execute regardless of who you're playing.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Execute at a high level, the score reflects that. And so that is what they've been doing from a defensive standpoint. They haven't given up any points, which they shouldn't.
Right.
But they're very good playing against certain offenses. And then offensively, they've been putting up numbers as well.
Yeah.
Which they should, because they're running their stuff. They're running the football and passing, when called upon. But I just think they're a very good football team, despite who they're playing. Now, Georgia, on the other hand, they're kind of sputtering. They're not as dominant. And so that's, if you want to talk about somebody scheduled and not sure if they're ready, this week a good test to see where they are.
I thought I said the same thing. Yeah, I said the same thing. But Kendrick definitely got the win with Ohio State. You got the win with Alabama, but boy, that first half, it looked like you were about to go down, Charlie, because Tennessee came out blazing. And then I don't know what happened in the second half. They forgot everything they learned in the first half.
It's called defense.
Clearly, Alabama
defense, and Nick Saban's good at that.
yeah. They clearly woke up. And then
the defense wasn't playing that bad to begin with. They was just turning the ball over.
Well, and then USC did not disappoint. They did exactly what I said they would do. They can't stop nobody. And here's what's ironic of USC. Not only did they take themselves out of a championship and take Caleb Williams out of the Heisman conversation, because that's over. I wonder, is Caleb Williams going to walk off the field at some point this season? I know you don't like that, Charlie, but
it depends on who's in line for the number 1 pick in the draft. Apparently,
I don't.
My-
I don't think he would do that. Now maybe the bowl game I could see.
I don't
But
think there's any way he plays in that bowl game.
No.
I don't think he walks off. He doesn't seem to have that. He's very.
He doesn't have it, but he has a father that is extremely vocal. He
But
is
it's-
extremely LeVar Ball-esque. Maybe
That-
not quite as bad, but he's in that realm.
But the dad has no bearings on whether the kid plays or not.
Mm.
Eh,
He might.
okay.
He might. But I would love to see North Carolina and USC play.
Oh
That
man,
would be a basketball school.
yeah, 'cause there's no defense. That's a track meet right there. That is a track meet right there. It was interesting just to watch that the end of that game, and everybody's talking about the quarterback that hadn't played all season, Cam Rushing, I think his name.
Right.
The quarterback for Utah, and they're like, well, there's no way Utah can beat anybody going forward. They haven't had him all season, so they're completely used to playing without him, and they're doing just fine. Their defense
because Utah's defense is legit.
Utah's defense is legit, so they're right there. So we had a rough week this week, gentlemen. We if you bet with us this weekend, you didn't. Well, if you bet me and Kendrick, you didn't make any money, but you didn't lose any. If you got with Charlie this weekend, it didn't go well. It didn't go well. But over the long haul, you've been fine.
He's got
You've
a
been fine.
four-game lead.
Yeah, you've been fine. So
All right. He's got a 4-game lead over third.
oh, stop it. This guy here, boy, I tell you. Never let him be the front runner, Charlie. Never.
What? I just said he has a 4-game lead over third. It's
All right.
Observation.
I know.
Just killing the message.
So as we head into this week's games, I hate this game so much I can't even begin to tell you. Syracuse and Virginia Tech. This
Why?
is almost like the I don't care bowl.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, because I can't trust Syracuse anymore.
Virginia Tech. They're
You
playing at
finally
home.
there?
Huh?
You're finally there?
I'm free. I'm delivered. I am delivered.
I'll go with the Hokies too. I'm with Charlie.
All right. Well, we're all going that way on that one. UConn is graciously giving Boston College another win this weekend, and I'm sure Boston College appreciates that.
Is Constellano's playing?
Huh?
Constellano, what's his name?
Is it Castellanos or is that the baseball player? That might be the baseball player for the Phillies.
It's something, no,
Close to that.
it's something like that. It's something like that. It's Costa something. Let me pull it up.
Boston College.
Yeah, it's Castellanos. We're probably jacking it up. In Spanish, it's probably Castellanos or something like that. But he's the best. He's the only thing they got. So as long as he plays, they got a chance. But I'm sure we're all going Boston College there. Is this the fourth loss? Is the real question.
NC State
going on the road against North Carolina State. I just want to know what Charlie's going to do more than anything.
State offense is lacking
a lot.
But they were off. No, they played. No, they didn't.
They were off last week.
So they were off last week. So they're gonna be ready.
Oh, it's gonna be a massive game, and there's blood in the water.
How's there blood in water?
Huh?
Oh, because I'm going with Clemson.
I'm with Charlie. I'm with Charlie. I'm not quite ready to go that they're gonna lose at NC State.
Because this would be their back-to-back loss. I need Clemson's offense to show up though. Like Klubnik, we need to pick it up. Like, yeah.
Tell me this: the two of you. Tell me what have you seen? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Charlie.
We need Shipley to be carrying some donuts.
I like what you did there, Charlie. That was good. That was good. Tell me what you've seen out of Clemson's offense to make you believe this is the week they pull it together. I'm just curious.
It might be more so the defense than the offense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is this the fourth law? Who they have left?
They still got somebody. They still got
the fourth
North
law.
Carolina.
Yeah,
they got Carolina on the schedule. I know that.
They got North Carolina. They got Notre Dame still.
South Carolina.
They got South Carolina in a rivalry at South Carolina. I'm going to say they escaped this weekend, but I'm not confident. I'm not confident.
I think I need.
Not confident. In fact, I'm liable to expand my 4 to 5. I'm just telling you, it's not looking good. All right, North Carolina, did they bounce back this week against Georgia Tech?
I say yes.
Yes.
I mean, they can't allow Georgia Tech, but then again, you never know. He had like 500 yards total offense.
Just saying, man.
3 touchdowns. I mean, three interceptions, 1 touchdown. He had crazy numbers. It was all over. That's why they lost.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. This is the type of game, man. North Carolina's defense got a way of making offenses come alive, and Georgia Tech is proven they are just good enough to go beat somebody like this. Oh man. Charlie, you went North Carolina, right? And Kendrick, you going North Carolina, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. Take it. There you go.
Do it.
Go and give Yellow Jacket.
See, this is how I get beat every time. I'm so far behind. The only thing that's keeping me from doing it is that I'm so far behind. I got to catch up.
What?
And this ain't the type of game I feel confident to stick my neck out and say I'm gonna be all right. So I'm probably gonna regret it, but give me UNC. I'm probably gonna regret it.
Scared money don't make none.
Really, Mr. Safe?
I know. That's what I'm saying. You go for it.
Mr. Safe.
Scared money don't make none. I'm in first.
Virginia. I'm not even gonna touch that. Virginia is in Miami. I'm hearing Van Dyke is gonna be back.
This is a game where I could see Miami being Miami and losing it.
At home?
They lost to Georgia Tech at home.
They did lose to Georgia Tech at home. But that was pure stupidity. This would be Virginia beating them. I don't know. Are you going to expand your lead?
They can't do something stupid twice in the season.
It would be the most Miami thing ever. Are you going to expand your lead and go Miami?
I'm debating. Come back to me. Consulting my grapes.
I'm going to say Miami rides the wave of a Clemson win, and they stay in the flow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami as well.
Okay.
Just because of the momentum that they've gained. Van Dyke. Hopefully, I'm not sure why he was out last week, but the guy that was behind him, I think his name is Emory Williams. He didn't play bad.
Wasn't bad at all.
Especially against Clemson's defense. But they were able to establish a good running game, which is always good to a young quarterback. And their defense was good enough to win.
I don't know if you saw this news. I'm sorry, real quick, Charlie. I just want to be fair. Clemson's R.J. Mickens is out, and Antonio Williams is out. So their most, I guess, Williams is their most consistent wide receiver, right?
Right.
Antonio Williams.
Number 0.
Yeah, he's out, and then R.J. Mickens is out.
Who is that? Wide receiver?
Huh?
He's another offensive player?
That's their defensive back. So they're more vulnerable over the top this weekend. Does that sway anybody to make it a change? I just want to be fair, give you all the information. I think I'm gonna stay with my pick, but that makes me even less confident now.
Right. I think I'm going to stay with Clemson. Really, because of their because of their defense, and NC State's offense is
not the great.
I think Clemson can score on defense in that game.
Okay, I haven't heard your Miami pick. What are you doing here, sir?
I got a big enough lead. Let's go with Virginia.
Okay, there you go. You got a big lead. There you go. Bring him back to me.
I'm 5 games out of third, so
bring him back to me. All right, Pitt and Notre Dame.
Yeah, Irish.
I'm not. I'm no fool. I just Notre Dame.
Yeah, Pitt played. They were good last week. They just got slid too soon, according to the referee. But they could have won the game. My only hesitation is they only had 17 points. So that's not very good in this day and age trying to win.
If this game was on Pitt's raggedy field, I'd pick Pitt, but it's not. To Notre Dame. So this one should be easy, right? Florida State, right? No problem. We're all going Florida State, no issues.
I need to make a call to see how things are going, but they should be okay. They've been focused pretty much all year. Defensively, they've been very good. The numbers might not say it, but they've been very good all year defensively, getting stops when they've needed them.
Right.
Then offensively, I don't know if Johnny's playing. I think he had a slight concussion in the last game. But they have other guys. Run game, they use multiple people in different positions, like Toafili, Douglas. I mean, they have guys, Jaheim Bell. They started him out as a running back last and Toafili was in the slot. So, I mean, they have a lot of weapons offensively. I still don't think that Wake Forest offense is – I mean, they scored, 21 points last week against Pitt.
And technically, did the offense score 21 points or the team score 21 points? Because that last play was that an interception or what was that? I don't remember the last play.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know it was a tough loss for Pitt because of spot, which would have run the clock out. And then they had to punt. And I think the guy made a great play or something.
Something. Yeah, I don't remember how it ended, but yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we're all going Florida State there. This is the tricky one of the week. Duke and it's our big game, ACC game of the week. Duke versus Louisville at Louisville. That might be the deciding factor, simply because it's at Louisville. Louisville is seeing a path now to the ACC title game and maybe something beyond. Although the beyond is a little, a lot of things got to fall into place.
At this point, the beyond is the New Year's Six Bowl.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs out there in college football right now.
Ain't that many?
And like, what do you say?
There ain't that many.
No, there is. Georgia has no Bauer. Their safety blanket is gone. Possibly.
Who?
Who knows for how long? So
they're Georgia. I mean, like I said, could be very telling on how they finish out. But it would be tough for Louisville to get close, as Kendra mentioned, to
I agree.
a CFP starting out at 18. That's why I just think it's very important at the beginning of the year you get that top ranking, so that if you start out in the 7-0, slot, you're going to stay in that area. But if you start 22 and you go to 7-0, you may get to, like 8 or
Well, they
9.
started nowhere.
So that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
ranking early on can be a big part of where you get to.
Right. And then their only opponent that's left on their schedule that's going to get them that notoriety, if they was to win that game, would be winning the ACC championship and beating Florida State. And even with that, I don't think that's going to vault them all the way up past the SEC and the Big Ten schools.
Well, I mean,
they'll put Alabama there.
But you're just looking at their path, and I'm telling you, I think there's more chaos to come in across the board. Again, we don't know what the Big Ten is. There's not one person that can definitively tell me that the Big Ten is a good conference this year.
Yeah, but I can tell you that Michigan and Ohio State are not going to lose 2 games, and Louisville, they're not going to pick a one-loss Louisville team over a one-loss Michigan or Ohio State team.
I don't think you're right about that.
Yes, I am.
I think it
they're
matters.
Gonna go strength of schedule,
but it also matters.
They're gonna put more credence on the Big Ten and the ACC.
But it also matters how you win and lose those games.
And it also matters that it's a TV show.
Well, I listen. I'm the king of that statement. I agree with you there, dude. I can't argue against that point.
Our boss is gonna get on that deal,
right?
And by the way, we still don't know what they're gonna say about Michigan. They may say to Michigan, "You're banned from playing because you've been cheating the whole time." I mean, listen. We'll see.
The NCAA likes to go back and erase history, not do something proactive.
Well, that is also true. Are we all Louisville, or is anybody going to dare to be different and go Duke?
No, I'm Louisville.
I'm Louisville.
Okay. All right. This week in BLEAV 1 game pick. We got more options. I've given you more options only because
you need to catch up.
Games this weekend are weird. They are very strange. For example, Tennessee UK is a weird game, mainly because it's at UK.
No, even if it was in Knoxville, it would still.
If it was in Knoxville, it'd be a no-brainer to me. But this is in UK.
You know what's crazy is that Kentucky's won in Knoxville more than they won in Lexington.
Really?
The last time they beat Tennessee was in Knoxville.
It was in Knoxville. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, that's one of the game choices. You've got Oregon, Utah, which I think I'm going to stay far away from. Although I do believe Utah can beat Oregon.
I do too with their defense. Yeah,
with their defense, I do believe that. We brought Colorado back. Colorado's back on the
gift that keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. UCLA on the road. This is also a weird game to me. Because Wisconsin has a way of getting Ohio State in their house and beating them.
Shout out to my boy Vinny Anthony, wide receiver for Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's a weird game. And then the final one, another weird game. Oklahoma has I think Kansas beat them the last couple of years, didn't they? Or I know they beat them last year.
I think it was just last year. I think it was just last year.
So this, again, some weird games this weekend to choose from. You only got to pick one. Which one are you going with, Charlie Ward? We'd like to see the list again there. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ohio.
You going with Ohio State, Wisconsin?
Yeah. Was
Still, huh?
that the last game?
No, the last one is Oklahoma, Kansas.
I'm gonna go Oklahoma, Kansas.
And you're going with
Oklahoma,
where the wind comes shooting down the plain. I hope you're right about that one, Charlie. I tell you what, I love Oklahoma's defense. I think the kid, is it Daniels, Gabby Daniels, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to come on a little bit. So I feel like you're going to be okay.
I think he's okay.
Kansas is one of those teams, man. It's
going to be crazy in Lawrence. But, yeah, I'm with Charlie on that one. I believe in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think you might be right. All right, Kenzie, which one are you going with?
Like you're staying away from Oregon, Utah. I'm staying away from Tennessee, Kentucky, because I just don't know what to expect in that game.
I don't know what to expect, man. I don't know what to expect.
It's so weird because Kentucky is so weird. Tennessee is so Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde every week. I'm gonna pick Ohio State to win at Wisconsin.
Ohio State over Wisconsin. Okay. All right. Well, I still believe in Colorado and what they're trying to do there. I just don't believe they're going to win this weekend. So I believe. I still believe that to pick them. Oh man.
Then go with UCLA. Just pick the UCLA game.
I'm definitely not. I could and just play it as safe as it's probably. But see, this will be the game they win. This will be the game that they go win.
I know, that's why I stayed away from it.
Of all the games I've shown you, I actually feel the most confident about Utah, their defense. So I think I'm gonna go Utah again. I'm gonna ride the wave. They were good to me last week. I'm thinking they're gonna be good to me this week as well. I'm going Utah. So, wow, what a week. I'll say this. I think we need to pay attention every week from now to the end of college football. I don't think it's going to be clean. I don't think any week is going to be clean as far as the top 10, top 15 team. I think somebody's going to go down every week. And by the time we get to now, as it always does with college football, it always plays itself out, and whoever's supposed to be there is going to be there. But I think we're going to see I think this is going to be an upset to the end type of journey.
So it's guaranteed because it happens every year. There will be a Saturday when there's a bunch of upsets.
Yeah.
At some point.
It's coming.
Saturday. It's coming.
And it feels like this year more than ever. It's coming. It is absolutely coming. It's that I don't feel confident in any team. Like 100%. If you was to say that for sure that team's going to make it I don't know that. So, and that's weird because I've always felt Georgia the last 3 years is far and above everybody, but not this year. They've kind of fallen back.
It's good. It's finally to have some parity in college football. It's nice.
Shout out to the transfer portal.
Right.
Before we get out of here, ACC basketball had their
media days. They had their media days this week.
Media day. A lot of interesting comments coming out of the basketball coaches about the alignment and their concerns about whether or not it's over. And we never talk about how this affects them, but it does affect them. Like it tremendously affects them. And is it over? Can I just say right now, to me, the only logical move left, and I wouldn't even do it from a football perspective, but it makes sense to do it from a football perspective because you're doing it anyway. Why not bring UConn on in?
They may as well, as much as they played them in football this season.
Well, and then think about what that would mean for basketball. For basketball, you've increased the revenue tremendously on both the women and the men's side.
Right.
So it just makes sense to just bring them in.
And Louisville's playing UConn. They've signed a 3-year contract with them, so they're already playing them. And then in women's basketball, and then I'm pretty sure that UConn and Stanford are probably going to play. I haven't looked at the schedules, but it's an easy, it's a pretty good guess. They're probably going to play.
It just makes the most sense. It just makes the most sense to bring them on in because you're beating up the whole conference is beating up on them anyway and counting them as a win. So keep doing that. And then you got them in basketball, possibly winning national championship. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it would be a good move.
So I just thought about it over the weekend. But anyway,
And they're on this side of
the Mississippi.
From a travel perspective, they're right around the corner. So
they're in the same time zone.
I cannot wait to see how this Cal Stanford thing works out. I'm so excited about that because that is a train wreck right now. You're almost going to have to go play 2 weeks out on the West Coast every year. So anyway, you guys got any shout outs?
I'll shout out our guy, and even though I know you're happy for your Rangers, I got to shout out Brandon Pfaadt, starting pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Louisville native, Trinity and Bellarmine grad. It's wild to see a Bellarmine. I see somebody from Louisville that's from Bellarmine and not from U of L, but
right.
he's been lights out in the playoffs. He's
fantastic,
great playoff run, and this is a rookie. This guy was 3 months ago was playing in Reno. And so, wow. So shout out to him and shout out to the Pfaadt family.
Charlie, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out, sir?
Our my alma mater, Thomas County Central High School. They're the number one team in the state. They're 8-0, I think, at this point. They have a game on Friday tomorrow against Lee County, which used to be the darling of their region, but now it's turned into Central's region to lose. This is the second year that they've gone 8-0 during the course of the season. Last year they ended up 12-1, lost the last game in the semifinals. And so they're on another great run. Coach Justin Rogers and his staff is doing a great job, and they're solid. I mean, they got some Division I players, but their program is on a rise, and he's doing a great job of getting guys to buy in. Has a great coaching staff as well, and so just looking forward to seeing how they finish this season, whether it's with a championship or just another great run. But it's fun. The journey has been fun.
Awesome. Obviously, I'm going to continue to shout out my Texas Rangers. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't stunned at them being here, but I'm equally as stunned at the Arizona Diamondbacks being here. Let me just give you the numbers real quick. In 2021, both these teams combined to lose 212 games. 212. Mm-hmm. They doubled down on that the next year by losing 182 games. That was last year. They are now both in the World Series. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. No one, and including the fan bases, if we're being honest, saw this coming. My hope for the Rangers this year was simply that they would just be competitive. Just be competitive. Give us something to hope for. And shout out to Bruce Bochy, who must be like the baseball whisperer, because he has convinced these guys that they are amazing, and they have truly been amazing. It's stunning to watch.
It's an interesting series.
To put it in perspective, Adolis Garcia was cut 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He was waived, and they said, and nobody picked him up on waivers. That's where he was. And they decided to bring him back, and look where he is. Now he's an ALCS MVP. But equally shocking is the Arizona Diamondbacks, who beat the Dodgers and who beat the Braves? I think it was the Braves. Mm-hmm. It's really a shocking.
Dodgers, Braves, and Phillies.
The most shocking World Series you could ever hope for. It's unbelievable. This is not the World Series anybody predicted, but it's the one we got, and it should be a great, great fall classic. So I'm very excited. I will be on pins and needles from Friday until and what makes it even worse is that everybody is saying the Raiders are favored, which I hate because I'm like Charlie. I can't believe how much Charlie and I are alike in this regard. I would like to be the underdog in this. I really would.
Fly under the radar. You flew under the radar all year.
I'm gonna be honest with you. as much as I figured, I kind of felt like it was going to be Arizona because they just seem like they don't have they have great short-term memory. I was hoping for Philly. Because Philly and Astros are similar to me, and I think we're built to beat front runners. And I don't know if we are ready to be front runners. So I'm a little concerned about that.
Only reason why I wanted Philly to keep going is because the way their fans look when they lose.
Oh, they look.
It's chef's kiss.
It's shocking. It is really shocking to see the look on their faces. Well, like I said, it should be a great series. And then shout out to Dusty Baker, man. What a career. I mean, you can't say enough about this guy. But to me, as great as his career's been, because think about this, Dusty is the scandal whisperer. If you think about it, he is the scandal whisperer. He brought balance to every franchise he's ever managed.
I would like
every situation he's ever managed. Who better to handle the Barry Bonds situation than Dusty Baker?
Right. I would like to see his son now. His son that was out there at home plate when in the
right, they got snatched up from being trampled.
Yeah. He's got to be like about 25 now, right?
Maybe more than that. He might
a minute ago.
I was gonna say it might be more than that because Bonds was still playing. That was Bonds. That was that World Series with Bonds, right?
Yeah,
and that was 20 years ago, right?
At least, yeah.
He might be about 20. He can't be more than 30. I can't imagine he's more than 30.
No, I don't think he's more than 30. But
he can't be more than 30.
25.
But that was a crazy series. But yeah, shout out to Dusty Baker. And before I let you guys go, Victor Wembanyama, were you impressed last night?
Yeah, I think he was okay for his first game.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that his team wasn't looking for him like I thought they should have.
Well, they're a young team.
They are a young team, and I guess it'll work itself out. But
shout out Keldon Johnson. Big fan of that kid.
He was good. He was good last night.
My man Devin Vassell.
Vassell may have had an agenda last night. He said, "I'm on this stage."
No, some of them he was thinking, man, I was sitting there cringing. I'm like, oh man.
He wasn't looking to pass to nobody. He was like,
YOLO.
Before this night is over, y'all gonna know my name. I was thinking,
since we're here, what about your Lakers?
It's too early to panic, but
I totally agree. And Anthony Davis was awful in that second half, but good Lord, the way the world just came down on him in game one.
Yeah, that was a bit of an overreaction. But to be honest with you, I'm more concerned about they don't really have a true point guard. And the drop off to me is not Anthony Davis not scoring. The drop off is we don't have another playmaker outside of LeBron. If we're going to sit LeBron, which by the way, I think is the right move, he shouldn't be playing 35, 40 minutes at this age of his, in this stage of his career. But D'Angelo doesn't have real point guard skills. He doesn't know how to get everybody involved, put them in the right places. And so that to me is a bigger problem than what Anthony Davis is doing. I think Anthony Davis is going to figure it out. He'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it's opening night against the world champs. I mean, they blew that so far out of proportion.
A little bit.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, I'm not going to give them a pass either, but come on. It's like the overreaction was insane. I do wonder though, while they do want to put LeBron on a minutes restriction, how long is he going to do that?
Not long.
Yeah, because you can already see.
Right.
You could already see it in the press conference after the game.
History says not long. Like
right.
They probably got another week of this, and then he'll be like, okay.
I say they got one more loss in this.
Now tonight, no Devin Booker, no Bradley Beal. They should win that game.
Why? What's wrong with Devin Booker?
Something about a foot issue coming out of that game on Tuesday.
I hadn't heard, but I hadn't.
Which this is way too early to be having foot issues, obviously. So
Yeah, that messed up.
let's keep our eye on that and see where that goes. But it sounds like he's not going to play tonight, and neither is Bradley Beal's not over his situation either. So
Well, all right.
that should be a Laker win. But now, if they lose this game with no Bradley Beal and no Devin Booker, I might be a little concerned. So anyway, sports, man, October, it's the best. This is the best. This is as good as it gets, people. Only thing better is maybe March. So this is how good as it gets. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. College football is in his bag right now. Let's keep enjoying it. But we'll be back next week to do it all over again. That's the great Charlie Ward. That is Kendrick Haskins. I'm Lloyd Spence. We'll see you next time. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard. And join us next time on